There are certain cameras that you just love the first time you pick them up, and that's kind of my impression of the Nikon ZR. I have had other cameras that I've really enjoyed. I have a G7X Mark II. It's one of my favorite cameras that I've ever used. I've taken thousands and thousands of photographs. It's been on numerous hikes throughout numerous national parks, and I've used the heck out of it, both the version 1 and the version 2. Love that camera, and I can tell the Nikon ZR is going to be that kind of a camera that I love. I love the simplified interface. It's like somebody really sat down and thought how to make a camera approachable. The thing that makes it possible is the 4-inch screen is brilliant. All the touch controls work great, and the interface is just wonderful. And keep in mind, I've been on Panasonic, Sony, Canon, Nikon, and by far and away, this is my favorite. So, I'm going to cover some of the basic functions of this camera. Some of this is going to be pertinent for beginners, but I'll also cover some of the advanced features. This video is to talk a little bit about the photography modes in operation of the Nikon ZR. This camera has shown a lot of thought in the way they've laid it out and the way they've pre-configured it. I'm going to use some images from the manual. This camera has very nice controls. The multi-selector, or we call it a joystick on the camera, works very well. Up in front you have a sub-mode dial that works very well. It's very accessible. It's extended quite a bit below the zoom lever. It makes it very easy to get to. The main command dial on the back of the camera, again, is very easy to access. As good as almost any Nikon that I've used. All right. Let's talk about some basic shooting modes, and some of this is going to be very familiar to you Nikon shooters. This is kind of basic photography. Nikon uses different terms than Canon, but that's all right. We'll just keep it in the Nikon world for the lack of confusion. Very first off is pick up the camera and use it as a point and shoot. And you can use the multi-selector, and then you press the center of that multi-selector or joystick to select it. But with this big, beautiful 4-inch screen that this camera has, you can also use it in a touch mode where you touch the mode that you want, and then down in the lower right-hand corner, there's a couple really handy buttons. One's an OK button, or the other is a Go Back button. And so it's very nice to have this large screen, and it has a very good touch sensitivity. As nice as even my Z9. All right, so we're going to push that F2 button up at the top of the camera, and that's going to bring up the configuration of all your shooting modes. As I mentioned, auto is just a very simple point and shoot mode that leaves the camera in charge of the settings. It sets the shutter speed and aperture. It also controls white balance and other items. If you really need a quick photo, it's probably something you could use. I want to talk about some of the other shooting modes that you come across. And the program mode is kind of like an auto mode. And the camera is going to choose the aperture and the shutter speed for you. I don't particularly like to give that level of control over to the camera, but you certainly can do it. I did early in my D3300 career try a couple photo trips where I did use the program mode, and the photos looked great. It seems to have a really good sense of what it needs to accomplish as far as setting the aperture for most scenes. And that's going to lead me into one of my favorite shooting modes, and that's aperture priority. And the whole purpose of aperture priority is it allows you to blur the background if you have a relatively fast lens and you're focusing on the subject up front. The more light you let into the camera, in other words, the smaller the aperture number, the more blurry your background will be. Or if you're out in a landscape setting where you want to have everything in the scene in focus, you can go to a large number, which gives you a much narrower aperture. And so you might be shooting at, say, f8 or even up to f11. Typically beyond f11, diffusion sets in, and you may lose some sharpness. There's times where you just have to do it to have everything in focus. So we call that stopping down the lens when you go to a very small aperture, hence a large number. It's kind of one of those inverse things that doesn't make a lot of sense if you're a new photographer. So that's one of my basic modes that I live in typically, because I do a lot of landscape photography. And just to gouge for what I do is I'll set the camera up with aperture priority, choosing the aperture that gives me the depth of field, in other words, the area in focus that I want. And sometimes I'll use auto ISO and then just fine tune everything with a little exposure compensation. Something, if you're new to the Nikon world, Nikon says it favors the bright image. Sometimes that's not good. I've learned to shoot about a third of a stop for most photos, and I can always bring up that third of a stop in exposure compensation. So in other words, that I'll go ahead and let the camera set everything up in the aperture priority, and with auto ISO, and if I don't like what it's doing and it looks like some of my highlights are going to be burned out, I'll usually use a third of a stop, sometimes more. There are scenes where you'll need 7/10 or even a full stop to preserve your highlights, but that's a whole nother subject. The whole matrix metering that the camera does is excellent, and I've really been pleased over the years with how well the Nikon meters light. Another mode that you're going to come to is shutter priority. And shutter priority is something that it can be very powerful. If you're shooting a bird in flight or an airplane flying by, the faster your shutter speed, the more likely you are going to be able to freeze that action. Shooting airplanes with propellers is kind of an acquired skill set, and you need a fast enough shutter speed to be able to capture the airplane clearly, but you want a slow enough shutter speed that there's still a little bit of blur to the propeller. Birds in flight, I usually use a very fast shutter speed, 1,000th of a second, something really fast, sometimes less if I don't have the light, but the more likely you are to get the bird in focus and sharp if you're using a fast shutter speed. The thing I want to mention is there's times with shutter priority where you're going to want to go ahead and intentionally blur motion. An example is if you have water and you're on a tripod and you want to have a waterfall that has all kinds of kind of a frothy, foamy look, then you can go ahead and use an intentionally slow shutter speed. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate a few modes here. I've talked about how I like to shoot in aperture priority with exposure compensation. And the way we access the exposure compensation is we hit F1, and then we can roll this little dial to put in whatever exposure compensation we want. You can see the image brightness adjusting. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on the camera. That's why the level's moving a little bit. And then once it's there, you release the button, and that's dialed in. So again, you push down F1, and when the F1 comes up like this, see the exposure compensation is yellow. We can dial it with the rear command dial or the command dial. So I'm going to put it back to neutral. All right, to change aperture settings, the front sub-command dial can be used to change the aperture. Notice the aperture right here, and that it's showing F4. So I can get this to F3 on this. All right, so my settings are aperture, 1/125th of a second. We have an aperture of 3, ISO is 3200, and so I'm going to go ahead and take the shot. The first thing is you're going to push the shutter button down halfway, and that'll gain focus. You see the focus indicators and help, and then we push and I have it set on low constant, and just that little bit of frame capture, you saw how quickly the camera responded. So we can preview our shots by hitting the review button, seeing what they look like. If you hit this button right here, you can zoom in, and that button is the multi-selector. You can zoom around, zoom out again to zoom in, and your screen is touch sensitive, so you can always come in here and touch like that to see how your focus is. Then we can leave the review mode by hitting the button again, or main shooting mode. Asked me about, is the display bright enough to use outdoors? And my G7X2 really got a good little monitor on it, and I've sometimes had to use a hood to see the settings. Here is the comparison with the ZR monitor. You can see it's quite a bit brighter, easy to see the settings, and I'm in direct sunlight. I've got the sun right overhead. It's equivalent of 12 noon, and the camera just timed out. Wake up. Hello. There we go. And once again, it's equivalent to 12 noon. Sun's directly overhead, really bright light, and you can just see how readable that the ZR is.